All right. So, hello everybody. Welcome to our webinar session. And today we are really happy to have you all here because we are going to talk a very interesting and very important topic with all our participants here. And today we are going to actually our participants and plenaries are going to talk about best practice in the application of trauma-informed classroom strategies, the safety principle. And let me give you some information about our procedure. Each participant will have 5 or 7 minutes to talk about themselves and their experiences and best practice in the applications of trauma-informed classroom strategies and safety place. And then I will introduce each of you and let me tell you the order of the speakers. And our first participant is Mireille Baz, and then Hannah Abdelghani, and then Yvonne Franco, and then Yusnita Febrianti, and Svitlana Batslani, and Danya Trune, and our plenary speaker is Rukiye Mohammed, will be the last one. Okay, so I think I don't want to waste time because you are all, I think you look ready, and we are also ready. And I would like to introduce our first participant, Mireille Baz. And yes, Mireille Hocam, hello. And you have the microphone, so you can start.
Yes, yes. Hello, everybody. I am Mirey Baz from Hatay, Turkey. I'm a graduate of Gazi University ELT department, and I have been teaching English for about 21 years. And especially, I'm teaching in high schools. Hello, Aydan Hocam. It's very big honor to me to see you because Aydan Hoca is one of the teachers from my university, one of the instructors from my university. I'm very honored to see you here. As I told you, I am an English teacher here in a high school in Hatay, Iskenderun. And also I'm leading a project which is supported by US Embassy, RELO. And the project's name is Be the Voice of Girls. It's all about the girls from public schools and who has some limited opportunities to learn language. That's why US Embassy is supporting us to teach them and maybe to equalize their opportunities. And with lots of my friends here, we had the chance to go to TESOL 2024 last year. I'm sorry. And we had the opportunity to see the trauma-informed classroom situations and some solutions for traumatic students and traumatic people. I made a presentation for you. Please let me share it. I will talk about my experience, one of my experiences that I have in the States, in San Diego, and helping students exposed to trauma. As we all know that we have 6 principles of trauma-informed teaching. And the first one, and maybe the most important one, is to create a safe environment for our students. So we're going to talk about the safety principle today. Also have trustworthiness and transparency, peer support, collaboration and mutuality, empowerment, voice and choice here. But today's topic is safety. I want to just a minute. Yes. What is safety in as a principle in creating a safe environment in our classrooms? Classroom is fundamental to creating an environment conducive to learning and growth for all students, including those who have experienced trauma. When students feel safe and supported, they will learn easily and they will become more successful. In addition, subject content can potentially traumatize or re-traumatize the students themselves. And strategies for building safety in our classrooms. It's physical safety, virtual and emotionally safe space. We should form a safe space, first of all. Foster a welcoming and inclusive environment, to set clear rules for attendance and to be fair to each of our students, to ensure there is adequate personal space provided for each student, to be sure that each student knows where to find the bathrooms, drinking fountains, and some important facilities throughout the building. And problem solve classroom variables can be controlled, lights, temperatures, uh, and we should ensure that exits are clearly marked and accessible. And uh, actively recognize and address historical trauma, to provide advance notice when materials are emotionally, psychologically, or challenging, to keep secondary trauma in mind when the students to talk about their personal experiences, to provide or encourage students to bring their own toys such as rubber bands or crayons to aid focus, and to encourage students to take care of themselves during class by standing up, drinking water, and stretching. It will make them to feel more comfortable, and this comfortable environment will bring the desire of learning something, and they will feel that, okay, this is my teacher, these are my friends, and I am in a safe environment with these people. And in the United States, in my visits to the United States, we have visited a place, an institute. It was Barrio Logan College Institute. And I'm sorry, I should make it better to see. Yes, they have a vision in this Mario Logan College. Every child shall have access to higher education, not limited by culture or status, resulting in a thriving community and better world. And Mario Logan College Institute has created a college readiness model that has positive, proven outcomes in enrolling students in college and helping them to be successful while there. Uh, Especially in that school, our Logan Institute tried to get some low educational attainment in the neighborhoods in Barrio Logan College Institute works in has directly led to high poverty rates. They are all dealing with people, especially who has some financial problems, the families. And students in these neighborhoods are at risk of failing to successfully transition into adulthood and become financially independent. And they try to help the poor students coming from poor families, and they try to make a safe environment for them. And after school time, they start their education from the third grade to the college level, and they try to work to reshape the very fabric of these communities as students graduate with bachelor's and master's degrees and promote these outcomes in their communities. And they have a mission. But first mission of this place is to make a safe environment to them. And they want to break the cycle of poverty by preparing underserved students to be the first in their families to go to the college. Yes, this is their first rule, that student should be the first student in his or her family to go to the college. And he or he begins in third grade. And also they take the support of parents, and parent workshops are designed to create an environment at home that is conducive to their children enrolling and succeeding in college. And also this institute helps parents complete charter and private school applications and utilize such programs as school choice and week. which gives students the option to transfer from low-performing schools to higher performing schools within the district. And parents are required to invest 30 hours a year in Logan College Institute by volunteering, participating in workshops, or going back to school themselves. And taking the support of parents is very important. When a child sees his or her parents in the place that he's or she's taking an education, they will feel more confident about that place. And how can this kind of programs can be applied in my community? Since Turkey is a multicultural, crowded, and developing country, unfortunately, we don't have equal educational opportunities for each individual. Lack of financial equality is one of the biggest obstacles facing education in my hometown and in my country. To break these obstacles, we also have some supporting programs here in Turkey. For example, my own project, Be the Voice of Girls, also serves for this aim. We have girls from different backgrounds and from public schools who has financial deficiencies and who has the lack of what education for language. Also, access programs in my country has the same aim. We try to make or we try to do something to equalize the opportunities. But also, these institutions or these communities are very necessary and very useful in a country. They can also have some challenges and some limitations. For example, in Turkey, we also have some institutes like Logan. However, they can't work properly. They can face some limitations during serving. It's a long-lasting service because from primary school to college time, at least we have 12 years for an individual to be educated. Sometimes they can get the donations in time, so it can cause a financial problem, and they can't find volunteers to help them. Money is not everything. We should have some volunteers. We should have some supporters with us. And these institutions can have pressure on themselves while choosing the students because of the high number of the applicants, but limited quotas. They have attendance problems. For example, at the first weeks, generally in my country, at the first weeks, everybody attends this kind of programs. But as the time passes, they stop attending the courses and get other students due. And some students may feel a bit nervous when they come to these institutions, since these places are known to support poor families in society. It can also cause a trauma for them to be known as poor, I mean, and they may feel isolated and tagged as poor person among their friends, maybe among their society. And these are all the things I want to share it. And my motto is always is that touch the hearts before minds. If a child feels safe and loved, so then the success will come. Thank you very much for listening to me. Yes, Volkan Hocam, thank you.
Thank you, Miray Hocam, for all the information you have provided here about it. And now, and we can move to our second speaker, and she is Hannah Abdelghani from Egypt. Hannah, are you here? I think yes.
Yes, hello
Yes,
Volkan
you
and
are
hello
here.
everyone.
Hello, Hannah. And now it's your turn.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck.
Okay, let me just. Hello everyone. I'm Hana Abdel Ghani. I come from Egypt and I work as a learning and development advisor. So before I start my mini presentation today, I would like to do a check-in activity with you. So can you type in the chat which picture number represents you now? Which Kermit the Frog are you today? Can you type the number in the chat box? Eight, three, two. Okay. 8. I can see that lots of people here are busy with lots of papers and correction and exams. 9, 2. Okay, 7, 2. Okay, so I am number 2 too. I'm very pleased to be among you today and to deliver this mini presentation with you. So my presentation today is titled Safety Comes First. We all know that trauma has happened to our students or to the beneficiaries of our programs in an unpredictable manner that has put their safety in danger. So it's our role as educators um, to have this awareness of the different trauma-informed instruction strategies. And today I'll be focusing on the safety principle and how we as educators can follow some procedures to guarantee the physical and the emotional safety of our students. So I'll be sharing quick tips, 7 for the physical safety and 7 for the emotional one. So starting with the physical safety, of course, we should be having clean, organized environment in our classrooms. We should eliminate the distractions that our students can have inside the classroom. We should be sensitive with choosing the right lighting or furniture or materials that would be suitable for the students' age, interests, and so on. Of course, we should raise our students' awareness about their personal space, and we should spread this culture of respecting the personal space of our students. Of course, we should be avoiding any kind of threats or intimidation. And as we always say, choice is a powerful tool. So try as much as you can to give your students choices when it comes to where to sit, what materials to use, whom to work with, and so on. And finally, we should be participating in anti-bullying or community building curriculum. So this is for the physical safety. Moving on to the emotional safety, I'll be sharing 7 more tips. They always say that the opposite of trauma is predictability. So the more predictable we are in the classroom, the more we elevate the stress from our students. So part of being predictable is to announce our clear agenda and expectations at the beginning of each session or each lesson. At the beginning of the school year or the semester, we should be having a kind of training agreements or contracts. And it's preferable that we share the students in putting those contracts or agreements. Also, having fixed schedules or routines is one of the things that make things more predictable and smooth for our students. Yeah, we also talked about personal space. Yes, yeah. So teaching and modeling active listening and empathy is something that we need to teach and model and practice with our students to work on their emotional safety. And finally, offering choice is always here, whether it's physical, emotional, social. You should give your students different options. I would like to conclude by stressing on the importance of embracing this mindset of assuming trauma or as Luis Khafir mentioned in his book, Social Emotional Learning in the English Language Classroom, that we as educators should adopt humane teaching practices and deal with our students as human beings who have their feelings, their moods, their own traumas. Thank you very much. And you can scan the QR code for the references I used today.
Thank you very much, Anna, for this great presentation about our topic. Thank you. Thank you. And now, we can move to our next speaker, and she is Yvonne Franco. And Yvonne, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Okay.
Hello.
It's your turn, Yvonne. So we are ready to listen. Go ahead.
Mhm. Let me share my screen. There it is. Can you see it? Okay. Well, thank you for this opportunity. As Mireille already mentioned, we are discussing today the safety principle. And well, we know that there are 5 principles to consider in the trauma-informed approach, but we are focusing today on ensure safety. This is basically creating or making efforts to create a safe atmosphere that is respectful for all the participants, and not only students, but also the faculty, the staff, and every interaction that occurs there to be safe for everyone. As we heard before, Barrio Logan, I think, was one of the most resounding experiences we were able to see in San Diego in the TESOL exchange. I felt really inspired by all their efforts they make. They really have been working for several years to provide opportunities for students, and well, I would like to apply something similar in my context, but how to apply it in my setting? I am from Mexico. I am specifically from Valle de Santiago in Guanajuato in Mexico, which is in the very middle of the country. Specifically in my city, it's hard to find opportunities for many students to continue their studies. We're not only talking about higher education studies, but also even for middle school or high school studies. So I would like to say that we would like to create a safe environment, of course, for students from middle school. I would like to start with something small, so that students from middle school can know their opportunities, that they can recognize their strengths, that not only students but also the families can see the tools that they have, the options they have, and to make them have that mindset that they can achieve things, that they can actually study a BA or a master's degree or something higher. We were asked to share some of the possible challenges that we might encounter. First, I think the misinformation would be one of those, because as I was saying, not a lot of people in my town have these opportunities. We have one university, public university. However, not all the people believe that they can actually achieve or get a place in the university, and sometimes it's because of the economical issues that they have. So we might encounter that also, well, the lack of support from parents and authorities. However, I think there are many things that we can actually do. We can have these sessions with people, and I think that's the most important thing, to start changing their mindsets, to start making them, well, realize that there are options, that there are possibilities, and well, I think first, as Hannah was mentioning, we would like to include these opportunities, these tips that she was saying. Those are, I think, essential, because first you need to be clear on what you want, and make them believe that every single session that they have, there is an objective, there is something that you want to achieve, and you can only do it by starting working. We have these issues, we have this possible challenges, but we need to start doing it. We need to lose the fear. Well, I need to lose the fear of what might go wrong, and start focusing on what can go right. And I think that's the most important thing, to start doing it, to do it for the future of our, well, all of our countries, for the future of our world. And well, that would be all. Let's start working. Let's not be afraid, and let's do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yvonne, for all this insightful information you shared with us here. Thank you. And before moving to our next speaker, I just want to remind you all that at the end of our session, we will have a question answer part, just 5 or 10 minutes. If you have any questions to our speakers or our plenary, so you can ask them at the end of it. Thank you. And now, we can move to our next speaker, and she is Yusnita Fabianti. She is here. Hello, Yusnita. It's great to see you, and it's now your turn. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Volkan. I hope everyone can hear me and see me. It's a great opportunity to be here with you tonight. I'm located in East Java in Indonesia. This is almost 11 p.m., but I'm glad to still be here with you all, and hope to share a little bit of what we have learned. So we have had these opportunities to spend some time in San Diego, in the US, and learn about the trauma-informed design. It was a privilege for us really to learn from all of our friends from around the world, and from some experts in the US. And while Mireille and Yvonne has talked about how we implement a safe environment from trauma-informed design in classrooms, my context is a little bit bigger. So I teach in a university where I teach English department students, teaching people in the age between 18 to 22. Other than that, I'm also involved in some students' organizations where I deal with students of this age group as well. In other activities, I'm also involved in some organizations where we have our staff composed of also young people. It is a fun experience to learn and to have activities with these young people. As an older generation, we can tell, actually, we can see that these people have potentials, but life in the 2024 is probably a bit more challenging than the time when we grew up in probably the 80s or 90s, so they have more challenges today. So we are trying to nurture these young people potentials using the principles of trauma-informed design. In her presentation today, Mireille has a very comprehensive diagram about what is a trauma-informed design principle. So it involves how we can create safe environment, to quote Yvonne as well. And safe environment can be created in a number of ways depending on where we are. So the point is there's power in the communication, in the way we talk to these young people, in embracing voice, in the way that we don't treat people differently. We identify what can be optimized from the talents of these young people. Again, as an older generation in the group, I feel privileged to be able to accompany these young people in our activities. We are in the Kaltin Primary English Language Teachers of Indonesia, in which we work to provide trainings for teachers of English for primary schools. And in a lot of our activities, we are helped by our staff who consist of students, alumni, and members of communities surround us. So our staff, again, are young people aged between 20 to 27 years old. We have similar interests. We are challenged. We are dedicated. We are keen on helping primary English language teachers to develop themselves professionally through our activities, seminar, webinar, workshops, and all. And as an organization, there's challenges when you work with other people and how you may need to adjust yourself to make the work a success. So our staff come from different backgrounds, which means that they come from different family members. So just like what happens in different countries, regions in Indonesia would have different family characteristics, different ethnicities, different language backgrounds. And of course, these young people have been through a few stages of development. They might have different friend circles. This shapes their characters, and not all of these are good experiences. Sometimes around some friend circles, they may find something that gets them to be discouraged or insecure, and this is our job as a mentor to be sensitive about this information so that we can accommodate what they need as young people in the organization. And of course, young people have personal issues sometimes in our life today, sometimes physical issues or some other issues related into personal choices can be quite sensitive, and we need to be mindful of this as well. Hence, in our activities in the organization, we have some challenges, and it is very important for leaders, mentors, teachers to be sensitive to identify our member of organization's capabilities, future careers, and insecurities, to listen to them and to ensure that this is a one step that they can have as a stepping stone so that they can have a short experience to join us before they fly away and get into a more stable career, hopefully. So what we do in our organization while we are working with these young people is that we embrace these people. We take them with their baggage. Everybody has their own baggages. We try to see the good in them by looking at the potentials. Some people might be very good at working with academics, working with academic matters, but some others might be better working at administration or even at logistics. And this is up to us, or this is our responsibility as the older member of the organization to understand and to put these people at the correct position so that they can improve themselves optimally. And sometimes we could also try out to crisscross their capabilities. Some people who are good at admin, sometimes we put them at academic work, sometimes to get them to try that they can do something that they feel that they might need, and that they might not be very good at, but they actually can do it. And by including them, by providing inclusion in all of our activities, we are respecting their potentials. We are providing opportunities for them to try out their capabilities. And I think this is very important so that they can keep going and find out about themselves what they are good at. While most of the time we are mentoring on professional development, we also spend time for doing personal talks when necessary. Again, these people comes with different backgrounds, different backpacks, different trauma issues that we might not know about. So to get them to be more holistically, more fully dedicated into the work that we do together, sometimes we need to have a personal approach so that they can be even safer to work with us. So this is us. And as I have noted, we in the organization would like to create a safe environment for our young mentees so that they can continue developing themselves, whether it is in the organization or later, so that they can bring out the best in themselves in wherever they are, in everywhere they go. We want our organization to be a place for them to train themselves to be a better person and keep finding out the good in them, feeling safe while working with us, so that they know they have these potentials that can be developed everywhere they go. Again, while we believe that academic achievements and certifications or diploma are important in proving someone's quality as a person, we would like to make sure as well that being a safe person, accepted person in an environment or organization is also very important for someone to perform in the best way that they can. I guess that's all that I can share with you all. I hope that we can learn a bit from the next presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yusnita. Thank you very much for your great presentation here. Okay, and now we can move our next speaker, and she is Svetlana Basmai from Ukraine. And now it's your turn, Svetlana. We are ready to listen to you.
Hi everyone, it's my pleasure to see all of you here. And to start with, all the speakers today are the participants of fantastic TESOL Access Exchange held in March 2024 in the USA. And thanks God, thanks to all of you, we are meeting together again. So let me introduce myself. My name is Svetlana Batsmaev. I'm from Ukraine, and I'm a teacher at Lesa Ukrainka Volyn National University. I also combine my work with university students with my work at school, because like 6 years ago, we started a new reform in Ukrainian education. So, and this is new Ukrainian school. I want to see whether it works or not. That's why I work with students as well, with school students. And I'm also a teacher trainer. So that's why I'd like to share my ideas with you, how to cope with stress, how to cope with trauma in the classroom. So tell me whether you see the second slide, or do I need, or the first one? So maybe I will restart my presentation. Yeah, so usually it works like this. Okay. So as I've already mentioned, all of us, all the speakers today, we are participants of TESOL Access Exchange 2024 on the theme Trauma-Informed Design in Education. Yeah, so this is our fantastic group. We gathered together all of us in San Diego, California in March 2024. And thanks God, we continue our collaboration. So, and this is not our first webinar, this is the second webinar organized by our group of people. And thanks a lot to Rukia from Kenya for organizing this event. Thanks a lot to Volkan from Turkey for moderating this great event. As I've already mentioned, the second webinar altogether. So, as I've already said, I'm from Ukraine. This is the second largest country in Europe. And you can see the colors of our flag. They are blue and yellow, yes, because of blue skies and yellow fields. Our fields are really yellow now because we are gathering harvest. But all of you know that my country is at war now. And here you can see the map of Ukraine, yes, as it was, as it is now. You can see some territories were occupied by Russia in 2014. Yeah, so these are like 3 regions of Ukraine. Ukraine is really large country, like 614,000 square kilometers. So these territories were occupied in 2014. And all the rest, like blue and the red, were occupied in 2022. So we have we have reoccupied some of the territories. They are blue now, and you see that some of the territories are still in war. I'm living here to explain to you. Yeah, so in the northwestern part of Ukraine, like we are in a little bit safer area, but nobody can predict what can happen. So that's why the topic of trauma is very important for us, and we're really up to date. So while preparing to our lessons, we usually have 2 plans. Plan A, if we are in the classroom. Plan B, if we are in the shelter. You can look at the slide and you can think that this is the classroom, but it's not a normal classroom. This is the classroom organized in the shelter. As soon as there are planes in the air, Russian planes with bombs and rockets inside, all of us need to go with our university students, with our school students to the shelter, and we continue our lessons in the shelter. And as soon as the alarm is over, we come back to the classrooms. That's why the psychologists usually say that it's not okay to have plan A and plan B. But in our situation, we can't manage what to do it, yeah? Like whether we are in the classrooms or in the shelters. Here you can see our president who visited some of the shelters organized like schools, yeah? So, and like my last talk with my colleagues from this group was on July the 8th, yeah, so, and I suppose everybody in the world saw this picture. Yeah, so this is the picture of Children's Hospital that was destroyed on the 8th of July 2024. So that's why you can understand that all Ukrainian children, all Ukrainian teachers are really in trauma and are really in stress, and we can't predict what can happen anyway. That's why all of English teachers know that usually we start the lessons with "How are you today?" Yeah, so to calm our students. So you saw the activity prepared by Hannah with the frog, how to start the lesson, because like, how are you? It's really very ordinary. But if we start with the frog or with the sheep, it doesn't mean that we compare ourselves or our students with frogs or with sheep, but it lessens the stress. Yes, whether it is in the classroom. So look at this picture. Yeah, so you can start your lessons with this sheep scale, and you can ask your students, how do you feel today? Yes, so choose any picture and explain why. And we call it self check-in. All of us know what check-in is, either in the airport or in the hotel. And we finish our lessons with self checkout. And we are great teachers if our students feel much better by the end of the lesson. To continue with some more techniques we usually use to lessen stress and to lessen trauma and make our students safe. So all of us know what social and emotional learning is, and we know for sure that it combines the 5 elements: self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, social awareness, and relationship skills. So, and to develop every component of social emotional learning, we use a lot of different practices, a lot of different techniques. So, like with primary students, we usually use these plastic eggs. Yeah, so we take them and we ask our students to draw their faces. Yes, how they feel at the beginning of the lesson, and after that they can clear everything. Yes, and they can draw how they feel by the end of the lesson. So, positive affirmation book. Let us teach our students positive things about themselves. We started in the primary as well, like we give them the examples. I'm strong, I'm loud, I'm smart, I'm happy, I'm amazing, I'm brave. Yeah, so even when they are in the classroom or when they are in the shelters. When they become a little bit older, we continue this list of positive affirmations. Yes, I love myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a good friend. I'm enough. I'm special. I'm capable. I can do hard things. I believe in myself. And when our students know these affirmations, we can suggest to them. So, like, prepare your 7 positive affirmations or any other number, yes, that best describe you. And really, our students feel much more confident, yeah, so they can feel that they can manage with any stress and with any trauma that happens in our everyday life. Then, students like to move. Yeah, so and I mentioned that usually we move and like almost every day. Yeah, so what we can use at our lessons, filling with your feet. My students like some physical activities at the lesson. Walk as if you are angry, walk as if you are happy, walk as if you are cheerful, walk as if you are curious, confused, shocked, sad, embarrassed, proud. Yeah, so it really lessens stress and it allows our students to move a little bit, because like we are recommended that with the students of primary school, we organize like some physical activities twice within the lesson. With middle school and high school students like once in lesson. Then, good things. I suggest my students to continue these sentences. One good thing in my life is, a good thing about myself is, something good that happened is, and one good thing I am looking forward to is. And this activity really shows that life is really wonderful. In spite of all the difficulties, there are good things we can find in every day. Then, role play stories. You can see some samples on the screen. Yeah, You are at the carnival standing in line to go on your favorite roller coaster ride that goes really high. And how do you feel? Yeah, so we suggest our students different situations and they have to describe their feelings and explain why they feel like this or that. And of course, I've started with self check-in, and I do hope that nobody feels like this prince now. Yeah, so but this is really self check out. How do you feel now? I don't I don't think I do hope you don't feel like this. But child, oh, we can ask our students, what is your personal weather now? Yeah. So, and what is your weather forecast for this week or for this summer? I suppose you will use these techniques with your students as well. Thanks a lot for inviting me and for sharing these thoughts with you.
Okay, thank you very much, Svetlana. It's really nice to listen to you as usual. And now we are going to move our next speaker, but unfortunately, he's not here. Daniel Trune, he won't be with us. He's not here, so I'm gonna ask my plenary speaker, and she is Rukia Mohammed, and she is here. And Rukia, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, now it's really honored to have you as our plenary speaker, Rukia. Now it's your turn, so we are ready to listen.
Thank you so much, Vulcan. Let me share my screen. So thank you so much, my colleagues, that you proceeded in this journey of sharing, and you've made my work easier because you've mentioned everything that I wanted to talk about, and that would make our work easier in learning about the safety principle. The fact that we've repeated it, then it means we'll get out of here having grasped all the best strategies insofar as the safety principle is concerned. So my name is Rukia Mohammed, and I'm from Kenya in Africa. You can see Kenya in the map here, in the African map here. This is where we are located, close to the equator. Most of the times it's sunny, but now it's very cold around this place. And I think due to climate change, which is another kind of trauma, this time round it's more than cold. It's not the normal cold that we're used to. So I'm a facilitator and I have various certifications on English from the Online Professional English Network. I am a psychological counselor and the Secretary General of the English Language Professionals Association of Kenya. And I have a niche in global and emerging issues in the English language classroom. So this is why trauma-informed learning is very important to me, because my motto is the assumption of trauma for any child that enters your class, because at times they might not be able to share, or you might, because you're a teacher, you might not be able to know the signs, but when you assume trauma for any of your learners, then you are able to be able to help all the learners indirectly get the best out of your lessons. So what am I going to do? We are going to have an icebreaker, and then I'll introduce what trauma is, and then some learning prerequisites that will take us further to knowing how does this trauma affect learning before we eventually get to the safety principle, which has been very well elaborated by my colleagues. So I would really love for us to do this activity. And maybe in the chat, you can just share what your preference is. Is it the red candy? Is it the green fruits? brown foods, blue candy, yellow bananas, or orange fruits. I am not able to see the charts, but if someone can just share. Green fruits, I see green fruits, green, everyone likes green fruits. Blue candy, brown category, of course. Okay, so I'll go to the next slide and then I'll request you now to share. If you chose red, then you need to post in the group, in the chat, what's your favorite book? So if you chose, what's the best vacation? If you chose orange, what's the best vacation spot you have ever been to? If you chose blue, what's your favorite kind of food? And I'm going to read some. Then if you chose green, what TV show are you addicted to? And if you chose, do we still watch TV? I know some people don't watch TV. If it's brown, if you could have any superhero quality, what would it be? I see someone says ability to fly. Adisha say ability to fly. Volcan says football programs. I see travels, TV shows by Sitlana. I see pizza blue. Oh, blue pizza. Okay. I see. Oh, someone. Aidan wants to be invisible. Okay. Currently addicted to Grey Anatomy. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Plank on Britain. Thank you so much. You can keep sharing. Keep sharing in the chat as we move. So probably this is for our own introductions, but again, at the same time, it's something that you can use with your learners in the classroom. So when we talk of trauma, maybe I just want to request someone from among you to just unmute and read for us what they can see on the screen. What is trauma? Just a volunteer.
Can I read it for you?
Sure.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Me, welcome.
Go ahead, please, Manajan.
Okay. Trauma is an event, series of events, or set of circumstances that is experienced by an individual as physically or emotionally harmful or threatening, and that has lasting adverse effects on the individual's functioning and physical, social, emotional, or spiritual well-being.
Thank you so much, Miri. And we saw what has been shared by my colleagues. We've seen what Svetlana shared about Ukraine, the war that is happening, and all the other traumas that people are going through. And we have seen that this can affect our learners, either physically, emotionally, or even mentally. And this is why we are having this particular discussion. And we are saying prioritize safety in the classroom. So given that now we've talked about what a trauma is, and when we look at learning prerequisites, as a teacher, when your learners come to class, for them to learn, they need to concentrate, right? They at times need to reflect on what they've learned, and they at times need to collaborate. I'm not sure how well they can collaborate if they've gone through a certain kind of trauma. So if the learners come to class and they are traumatized, then they might not have these learning prerequisites. Therefore, learning might not take place the way you would have wanted it to take place. So now we are going to look at these trauma responses in breakout rooms. So I want to request you to take a screenshot of this slide. Then we are going to take you to 4 breakout rooms. Room number 1 is going to look at the fight response. Room number 2 will look at the flight response. Number 3 will look at freeze response. And then number 4 will look at the fawn response. So if Volkan, you can create the 4 breakout rooms. And then what you're going to do there is you're going to look at this particular discussion questions. Have you come across this response in your classroom before? How did you deal with it? And if not, how would you deal with it should you encounter it? So kindly, if Volkan, you can create the 4 breakout rooms, then we can have our participants get into the breakout rooms and discuss this within 5 minutes or
Okay.
less. Maybe you can
4?
put 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
I mean, 4 rooms you want?
Yeah, 4 rooms.
Okay, I'll do it now. I have done
And
it.
for
And now I'm gonna
4
send them
minutes.
to you. You will have 4 minutes, okay?
Mm.
Just a moment. 4, okay. I'll give them 4 minutes. All right then, okay. Okay. So, yeah, you can go to the rooms now. You can also go Rukia.
It's okay. Let them discuss, and then when they come back, I'll
Lydia
join them.
and Karen. Lydia one day, and Karen, you can also go your rooms. Lydia, Karen, are you there? Maybe it's better to go Rukia, room number 4. There are only 2. Lydia, Karen, can you please go your breakout rooms?
Is where you felt collapsed?
Personally, I don't recall any experiences like that. Collapse, no. In what sense, though? When it's
Well,
like,
my class have experienced those who feel
Rukia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, but I just want them to discuss without me in the breakout rooms.
I think you are going to ask them some questions. They are coming back right now.
Yes, I'll do that. Let them come back.
Okay, they're coming back.
So I see
They're still coming.
most people are here. Oh, there are others are still
No,
coming.
just a moment. They are still,
Okay.
people are in breakout rooms.
All right.
No, they're coming back. I think they're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now I want us to look at this in relation to the discussion that we've had in the breakout rooms. So like on the chart, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, how would a learner rate in the presence of trauma, and why in relation to self-regulation, emotions, communication, and trust of others, concentration, memory, or organization? Just choose any, and you can just say if it's self-regulation and a learner has trauma, how will they rate in relation to the responses that you looked at in the breakout rooms? So for example, let me just go back. Someone is in the, maybe the people who are in the room that looked at the fight. This person, the learner is angry and they're aggressive and maybe they're bullying others. So in terms of emotional regulation, if that is the response that they actually interacted with due to the trauma that they're going through, in a scale of 1 to 5, how well will they be able to self-regulate? You can place that in the chat, or you can unmute if you are in room 1. Probably you appointed someone to discuss on your behalf. You can unmute and say something about that. This goes for all the rooms, the ones that dealt with flight, freeze, and phone. So any of you can unmute and say something about what they discussed vis-a-vis the effect that a learner would have if they're responding to trauma with any of these trauma responses. I see something in the chat.
So I worked in group 2 and we discussed the response of flight. Yeah, so when pupils, when students, when people want to avoid this dangerous or complex situation. Yeah, so, and I'd like to say that self-regulation here is really very rather high. It can't be the highest, it can't be 5, yes, but it can be 4, because the person wants to avoid the conflict, and that's why they do something not to fight. So, and as we discussed in our peer, it was not a group, it was a peer, like, again, I can't but compare it with the situation in Ukraine when the war started, all of these reactions were present. Like a lot of people started to fight with the enemies. A lot of people fled to different countries in the world. Yes, so when we were in the USA, and like it was mentioned that a lot of Ukrainians were even in the USA, not mentioning Poland or Germany, yes, like the biggest number of Ukrainians. So it was the direction of flight. There was a direction of freeze. For example, my husband couldn't do anything for 2 weeks. Yes, he was like frozen. And there can be the direction of phone. So like for our group, like I mentioned self-regulation, it was really rather high because like people could manage with the situation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Svetlana. Any other group that wants to say something? And hi, Robert. Thanks for joining this session from Kenya. He says he's enjoying the leaderless revolution in Kenya. That is also marred with a lot of traumatic incidences, unfortunately. Anyone who wants to share from the other groups? Yes, Aidan, go ahead.
Well, together with my group members, we discussed the freeze reaction, and we discussed a situation where the teacher also felt depressed. So both students and the teacher sharing the same trauma, we said the best reaction would be just to show empathy, just to listen to each other rather than showing the way. Can I see your scale again? Can you show the other slide where I need to grade the scale? Yeah, okay. For example, emotions communication would be 4. We would talk about our emotions. We would share our emotions, but of course we would definitely avoid showing any solutions, coming up with any solutions, because we all decided that we are not experts. We are not psychologists or psychiatrists, so it may not be a good idea to come up with a solution. But that one would be 4. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aidan. And I like that you've chosen the part for emotion regulation. I want to like relate it to what Svetlana shared about the using our feet to communicate emotions, and probably that is one strategy I would love to use in my classroom. Thank you so much for sharing.
And
Robert, I see your hand is raised.
Now, I was in the same group with the previous speaker. That's certainly one of the most vibrant groups we had out there, because you can see we're contributing. My take on this, as she said, we went with the freeze on the trauma responses. I was giving an example of a student in my class who, of course, when we discussed, she'd been going through something, and I was feeling she'd gone quiet for a while. She was this bubbly and vibrant student, and then all of a sudden, over a course of a term, she came back somehow different, and I could recognize that she was experiencing something. And this is why I find these particular sessions quite important. With the enlightening of trauma response classes, I could recognize those signs that basically this child could be going through some 1 or 2 forms of trauma. And when she came up and shared this with me, I realized that what she was experiencing falls under our freeze response. Yeah, she was feeling a little shameful about the situation that she was in, and therefore could not get to a point where she could get back to the bubbly self that she was. So in our discussion in the group, we realized this is one of the responses, and we discussed that what then should you do? If you don't know exactly, as she pointed, that some of us are not trained professional counselors or psychologists or something like that, I gave the understanding response where I, encouraging her and being there for her. And those are some of the things we discussed in our group, and that's what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you so much, Robert, and your group. And I think acknowledging what is within your control as a teacher is very important. And that's why we are looking at the trauma-informed classroom strategies so that you can be able to assume trauma for any of your learners, therefore apply strategies that would, even if it's indirectly, help your learners deal with their traumas. And again, when it comes to maybe serious issues, I don't know if some schools have the guidance and counseling department, and maybe also connecting to other organizations around that can help when it's too serious. So if there are no other groups that want to share, I'll continue and go to the next slide, where now I'm talking about safety. And probably someone can just share. If you don't mind, someone can read for us this definition of safety, which had already been shared by Mireille. But I just want us to go back and like recap on what safety is, so that when we get into the principles, then we can still refresh our minds. Anyone can unmute.
Let me read for you.
Okay, thank you.
The safety principle, and according to Oxford Language Dictionary, the safety is the condition of being protected from or unlikely to cause danger, risk, or injury. In order to create a safe space in your classroom, there needs to be respect and predictability. In the chat, please share one way that you build respect or predictability in your classroom.
Thank you so much, Volkan. And I know Hannah talked about respect and predictability, but in order for our learners to feel safe in the classroom, then they have to have predictability around their environment. And again, they also need to have respectful engagements. So you can share that in the chat as we continue, and I'll come back and read whatever you've shared. So now I want us to watch something, a short video that is going to model safety, and then we will come back and just answer this, and we will be almost through with this particular session. So probably Volkan can help me play this video. I see Svetlana has said predictability, a similar structure in the lesson. Thank you. Volkan, if you can play the, I can stop sharing so that you share.
You need to stop your sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share.
Okay, so you got a letter. What do we call a letter in math? Joe?
Variable.
Everyone say variable.
Variable.
Oh, that was table E and D. I didn't have table A. Everyone say variable.
Variable.
Okay, so we have a variable. We have a plus sign. So a calm down center to me is a safe place in the classroom. So it can also be called a safe zone. And I started putting it into my classroom over the past few years when I noticed that students have a hard time dealing with their emotions in the actual classroom. So I felt like they needed a space in the room where they can go and regulate their own emotions and, you know, manage them. Students use the Calm Down Center of an average maybe once a day, and sometimes kids it could be once a week or even once a month. It depends on the student. Some of our students who have more emotional needs might use it once a day versus a student who, you know, maybe just needs a check-in every once a month. It's important to make sure when you're using Calm Down Center that you teach the procedure, because you don't want it to become an interruption in the classroom. So they go in their basket, they pull out what's called a brain break card, and when they pull it out, they can sit on their desk and they raise their hand and they let the teacher know, hey, I need to go take a break. When I visually see that card on their desk, I just signal to them to go ahead and go, and then they know the steps to go sign in, set the timer. But that was all taught through a procedure, which we spent a whole class period just going over and having kids actually practice it. Okay, I want to see if we mastered how to go to the Calm Down Center. So I'm going to call on someone, and we're going to practice every part of the steps. Just to remind us, who can tell me What's our first step? Brianna?
Take out your brain break card.
Take out your brain break card. Step 2, who can tell me step 2? Albert? Raise your hand. Okay. After I've given you permission, what would be the next step? Tyler?
Sign in.
Sign in. Next step?
Turn on the timer.
Turn on the timer. Okay. So you guys ready for this? I'm going to see Albert. So Albert, I want you to model for us the correct way for how we go to the Calm Down Center and what we do once we get there. Everyone should be watching Albert, giving him our attention. Yes, go ahead. So after the students have set the timer and they're ready to engage in one of the activities back at the Calm Down Center, they can choose. We have kinetic sand, I have drawing activities, I have breathing technique cards, I have like Orbeez, Legos, different kind of sensory activities for them to do. And they all decided on these. We voted as a class, what are some things that you want back there to help calm you. So I use the Calm Down Center to help me be a little bit more proactive and notice students' emotions and how they're feeling before it grows and then you get reactive. So for my students, a lot of the time they're going through some home life issues, so they bring that with them to school. And so in the morning, I actually get a great deal of the students who actually want to use the Calm Down Center. And for me, I have to step back and make sure I'm not taking it personal and be very proactive in a way that I'm allowing them to go to the Calm Down Center, make a choice. I call it a better choice, and regulate their emotions. I use the Calm Down Center in a special education classroom, but I think every general education teacher should have some area in their room that resembles a Calm Down Center. It doesn't necessarily have to have all of the items that I have in my Calm Down Center, but maybe you could just have a desk and maybe like a beanbag chair or something for them to use so that they can go to regulate their emotions. Some of the problems I've had over time with the Calm Down Center when I first started initiating it was having it run smoothly. So it became a distraction at some points where I had it located in a different area in the classroom, and I was like, okay, I noticed a lot of the kids are looking in that area. They're not focused on me during instruction. So that made me realize, hey, I need to put it to the back of the room where everyone's back is to that person and they're not giving them eye contact. And then also just choosing some of the items wisely. We try not to choose too loud of items so that it's not distracting the other kids. And just making sure we have options for everyone, because maybe a kid wants to go to the Calm Down Center, but they don't like Play-Doh or they don't like sand. So what do I have out back there for them? So it's important to find student interests and needs when you're building it. This is a slide run, so you're going to skip this one right now. You're going to pick up with this. I think it helps keep the kids within the classroom. So I don't really have a lot of kids who are trying to escape the room. And sometimes you get those kids where I need to go get some water, I need to go to the nurse, I need to go to the bathroom. And honestly, I've cut back on a lot of the kids missing instruction due to this. And I've also have kept a lot of my kids focused, because if I'm not dealing with it and allowing them to control their emotions, then they're going to be at their desk causing a distraction. They're also going to be at their desk maybe just shutting down, and it's going to become a bigger problem. So having this and taking out those 5 to 10 minutes that I give them from instruction pays off in the long run. It's literally taking away from them having a meltdown in the classroom and causing, the behavior management to fall apart.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Volkan, for that. So
You're welcome.
I'm going to go back into sharing, and someone asked a question. What if more than one student wants to use the Calm Down Center at the same time? What do you suggest? Maybe someone can give us their view. Can you see my screen? Is my screen visible?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, unfortunately, I can't go back to slideshow, so I'm just going to share it this way. I hope it doesn't, it's not too busy so as to distract the flow. So what is your view of if more than one student wants to use the Calm Down Center. You can put in the chat. So with the video, probably also what I would like us to discuss is how likely are you to implement this idea in your classroom? And then what will you do to adapt it to your context? For example, if it's me, maybe one of the things I can do in relation to the question that has been posed in the chat is, you remember there's a place whereby the teacher was like orienting them on how to use the Calm Down Center. And I remember Hannah had told us that we can involve them when we are making rules in the and guidelines in the classroom. So probably we can agree with them on having like taking turns. So when one person is there, and since they have a timer, we know that after, and that's also a safety measure because they know it's predictable, this person will stay there for this number of minutes. So probably taking turns will make sense because we already know this person after this number of minutes, they'll come out and another person will be able to go there. So I don't know what your views are or what your adaptation would be insofar as that is concerned. And also probably if you think of an idea from this that you want to share or you want to adopt, you can send it to my email, maybe within a week or less or more, depending on how fast you come up with that idea. But I'll give a chance to maybe one person to share what they've gotten from this video and probably if they would want to implement. I see there's some views in the chat. Yvonne says yes. So I don't know if it's yes to what I've proposed or what it is. And then I see Nefise says, what do we do if the child does not want to go to the corner and continue to cause trouble? That's another good question. We're going to come to it. And also I invite anyone who wants to respond to that to also respond to that, but I'll come to it later. Anyone who wants to share their idea? Yes, I see Pinar. I hope I'm pronouncing your name well. If the students are genuine in the need to go to the Calm Down Center, then they can share the space. Oh, thank you. Calm Down Center is a great idea. However, I'm not sure whether such a strategy could be practically implemented in crowded classrooms. 30 students. Okay, yeah, that's actually a very good input. And I'm just wondering, how would you adopt it, even if it's not a Calm Down Center in that manner? How would you use this idea to come up with something that can be implemented in your classroom? Probably that's food for thought. When you set rules together with the students, I guess you need to make it clear that they have to. Yeah, Aidan, true. I agree with you. So
I like the idea of these Calm Down
go ahead,
centers. To be honest,
Svetlana.
here in our schools in Ukraine, so we have Calm Down classrooms. There has to be such a classroom in every school, like not a center in the classroom, but a particular classroom in the school, Calm Down classroom. Yeah, so and really any student can go there to calm down, to reset their feelings. Yeah, so and what I do like about the video that the teacher repeats the whole procedure, the whole algorithm, yes, and every student knows for sure what to do. If they understand, they can't manage their feelings, yes, so they know the procedure, what to do and where to go. So this is a great video and a great idea, yes, to cope with our feelings. And I'd like to say not only students need to manage with feelings, teachers as well.
Thank you so much. So now we are going to just take a short break and go to looking at our 5 senses. It's the 5 senses exercise. So wherever you are, maybe we can start with hearing. What is it that you can hear right now where you are? You can type in the chat, or just think about what you can hear and whisper it to yourself. So I'll give that maybe count of 3 for every sense, and then I'll come back and say what I need to say about it. So what can you hear right now? You can either put it in the chat or you can just whisper it to yourself. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, we go to the test. What can you test wherever you are? What can you test? Even if you are not eating anything, you can imagine something that you ate, maybe, I see there's music. So maybe something you ate at lunchtime, something that you like, you remember the test. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, someone can test juice. Then what can you smell? Some can actually test strawberries, other can hear cricket, someone can test fish. What can you smell? Flowers, perfume, I hear music, Let's go to touch. What can you touch? Okay, Mireille can touch her dog. Robert can smell chapatis, Someone can touch her face. Annie can touch her face. Damaris can touch a baby touch. Pinar, I hope I'm pronouncing your name well. Akiten. Thank you. Then vision, what can you see? Azra can touch the wall. What can you see? Oh, you can see me. Mireille, thank you. Thank you so much. I wanted us to take that break, but this is also something that you can use in your classroom to just break the monotony, and also it helps also in terms of safety. So before we took that break, Aidan had said, but the teacher has mentioned the importance of students staying in the classroom. Oh, okay. So this was in response to probably what Svetlana had said. And when we get to the question and answer session, we are going to take some of those, inshallah. So let's go to now the next part where we are looking at the other safety best practices. Most of these were mentioned, and I'll just maybe read through very quickly. Having open and clear expectations, for example, use of assessment rubrics. So the learners don't have the anxiety of what is it that is expected of me, because the assessment rubrics already explain what it is that is required of them. Thank you, Yvonne. I can see great educators, and so are you also a great educator, Yvonne. Then we have class routines, such as, actually this is also one thing Svetlana mentioned in the chat. So something like exit tickets at the end of every lesson, they expect that they'll be asked maybe name one thing you've learned and mention a question that you have, anything like that. Maybe common practices done on a routine basis. Of course, you may share some, or you may think of some that you already use. Then also provide opportunities for breaks to pair or group work. Maybe some of the exercises we've been doing, the check-ins that my colleagues shared, like the frogs, the sheep, what are you feeling right now, and all that. All this help the learners feel safe in class. Then include mindfulness exercises, like what we've done with our 5 senses, like the breathing exercises and all that. Then one very important thing that we should have in mind is that when sharing explicit content that could be traumatizing, ensure to ask yourself, as the teacher, as the facilitator, as the educator, what is the aim of that content? Whether there's a better alternative. Do your learners have a choice to opt out without missing out on the main goal? what choices are available to them, okay? So it's very important to have that in mind because you also want to avoid re-traumatizing your learners. So up until here, I've come to the end of my presentation, and maybe I'll take it back to Volkan to take us through the question and answer session. I know there's a question that I need to answer, but I'll just first take it back to Volkan. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Rukia, for this great presentation about our topic, and it was really fruitful to listen to you and great as usual. And now we have 5 minutes question and answer sessions. And if you have any question to our speakers or plenary, please raise your hand and then ask your questions or question.
Can I take maybe some 2 questions? There's one that was asked earlier, and I see also another one by Aidan. Why would we use traumatizing content in the classroom? Oh, I thought, why would we not use? Yeah. For example, I'll give an example. I'll start with your question, Aidan, and then I'll go back to the question that was asked earlier. I'll give an example of Kenya, for example. We've just experienced floods in the past, like 1 or 2 months, we had flooding. And also at the moment, we are having what Robert said, protests, and people are losing loved ones through the protests and all that. Then most of the times when we get our learners back to class, we ask them to maybe write a composition or an AC on how their holiday was. And probably they are talking about maybe the floods, or others are talking about the floods and all that. And maybe in the course of the flooding or in the course of the protest, someone lost their parent. And probably you're telling them, do an AC about where you went with your parent, while this parent is already passed, okay? So that could be traumatizing and re-traumatizing the learners. So maybe before, as a teacher or a facilitator, you ask them to talk about something that was traumatizing, you need to ask yourself, is it necessary? Is it something that they need to do in that particular way, or are there alternatives? Can you give them choice, like what my colleagues had said? When you offer choices, then a learner is able to make a choice on what exactly they want to share, okay? And especially, maybe at times it's important for them to talk about the trauma in order for them to be able to know how to deal with it. So you'll find maybe those are instances that it's necessary to talk about that particular thing, but how do you bring it up? How do you give them choice? And if at all they're able to opt out of that, will they miss out on that particular important point that you want them to get? And also I'll invite people to share in the chat, because educators have experience in this, and they can also share their inputs in the chat also on that. So I don't know if Aidan, that makes sense, or what you want to add on to that before I go to the next question.
Thank you. It makes sense to a certain extent, but still, I mean, people are going to encounter these questions, these issues everywhere. So I don't know whether we are able to learn about the personal lives of our students if they do not tell us anything about it. How are we going to do that? Because we also need to respect their privacy. If they don't want to share their private life with us, we cannot force them to do so. And again, I'm going to repeat it. I am a teacher. I'm a teacher trainer. I have been doing this for 42 years now, but I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. So I cannot read some of the signs. I cannot read some of the reactions. And how am I going to evaluate that situation? How am I going to come up with For example, if I ask a group of young learners to prepare a card for a Father's Day, and if the student's father passed away, if I do not know that, maybe the student doesn't want to share it with me. I will never learn it. So what am I going to do? So that is the issue. So are we going to avoid these activities altogether? Don't mention Father's Day, Mother's Day. I don't know. I mean, we also have some political issues here, economical issues. So if we're going to avoid everything, what are we going to talk about? So that is the question that I have in mind, but I need some time to digest and come up with my own
Thank you.
answers.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. I think that is very well clarified. I remember in our last webinar, we talked about something similar to this. And for example, during Father's Day, instead of maybe saying, talk about your father, you could give them choice by saying, talk about a father figure, or who is your ideal father figure, okay? So you are sort of redirecting them to a father figure rather than a father directly. I don't know if that makes sense. So you cannot avoid talking about these things, but you can maybe think of alternatives so that your question has different angles whereby you will still get the same results, but you're giving them a choice with the different angles that you bring into that question, and you're giving them a choice. And of course, we might never know what our students have gone through, because if they don't want to talk about it, some different ways is maybe through their records. You can get to know, do my student, and maybe we are insisting on social emotional learning is knowing your students also, especially, and as an educator, I know you're maybe in a better position because you have vast experience. But for example, going through their reports and getting to know so-and-so's families this way and this way. This is what we are now trying to tell facilitators and teachers to now embrace, getting to know about their students, maybe through search methods and different other methods that they can come up with. But again, when it comes to issue of not being psychologists, that is very true. And maybe that is what we are saying, and maybe what also one of my colleagues said, let's assume trauma for any of your learners. So even if you don't know how to read the signs, but if your practices are trauma sensitive, for example, if we adopt some of the practices and strategies that we've said, this can help create safety in a classroom, somehow you're able to, in a way, indirectly help them learn better. So the beauty about trauma sensitive classrooms is that you adopt some certain strategies that will help your learners without you necessarily taking the role of a psychologist. I think maybe in our next sessions, we should talk about maybe some signs of trauma, and maybe that is also what we are trying to talk about when we are talking about the responses, so that maybe when as an educator sees some of the signs that are beyond their control, they can connect maybe that learner to a certain department or an institution and all that. But thank you so much for that question and for you elaborating about it. I see there's something else you put in the chat. If we are talking about an abusive father, saying, talk about an ideal father can be traumatizing. We are walking on eggshells. Yeah, we are not supposed to walk on eggshells. And there's also the way, for example, when you anticipate that this is a topic that I'll talk about, you can inform them in advance. We are going to talk about maybe a sensitive topic, but so that they are aware, they are prepared, and they can ask questions maybe about that particular topic if they need to ask a question about it in advance so that they can be able to participate fully and all that. But I want also my fellow colleagues to put something in the chat if they feel there's something else they want to add. And maybe quickly, I just want to also respond to a question that was asked earlier about what if a student doesn't want to use the calming center. What I believe is that some of these practices, when you start having such practices in your classroom, in a way, you start establishing trust in your classroom, and eventually, it only needs patience, but eventually your learners might end up adopting and coming around. But now, after trying to practice all this and a student is not responding, probably that is a sign that you need to maybe refer them to a different department or maybe for further help elsewhere. That's my thinking. But someone else can also share what they feel. So back to you, Volkan.
Unmute your
Sorry. I
yourself,
think,
Volkan.
yeah, I did it. And I think that's all. Do you have any questions? No more questions, I think. Okay. And so I think, okay, Rukia, I think we can end our session. But before that, as we coming to the closing, and I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you of your participation and engagement, and like your presence and your contributions have made the sessions really incredibly valuable and insightful. I just want to say one more time thank you about it. And also I just want to say a special thank you to our esteemed speakers and our plenary speaker Rukia, and also our guests or the other guests here who join our attendees here. I just want to say really thank you very much. And your knowledge and your insights, that have provided us, a deeper understanding of today's topic, which is really important. And while we're coming to the end, the connections that we made here and the knowledge that we have gained will continue to resonate it. And also we can say that let's take this, the insights we've gathered today and apply them in our respective fields and driving innovations and growth. We have really nice ideas about it, especially the Calm Down Center. That was really fantastic. And we can remember that this webinar may be ending, but the conversation doesn't have to stop here that we've done. And stay connected and keep, the learning and, the continue to share our, the thoughts and ideas together. And thank you very much once again for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you at our, the future events. And until then, stay safe, stay inspired, and have a wonderful day ahead. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you.